step number 1 is going to be loading the design in.
Okay.
Step number 2, after we load the design in, and I'll go through everything we need to do to load the design. Step number 2 is going to be put the colors in. Okay, so we're going to choose the colors in the design.
Okay.
You know, like the star and then the all-star. We'll choose what color we're going to sew. So after we load the colors in, then we're going to do a rotation. So we're going to check the rotation of the design. Meaning, like, if you're doing it on a hat, it has to be upside down. Normally, your left chest is going to be right side up. So it's going to be important to know, you know, if the design is right side up or upside down.
Okay.
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 So that's going to be step 3. Step 4, what I teach people is to do a manual color change. Okay? And that's the most, it's the easiest thing to do, but it's the most important thing to do for somebody new. Okay? You don't want to skip the step. If you follow these steps, this is 95% of running this machine. Okay, it's going to be very simple. And so we're going to do that manual color change as step number 4. Number 5, we're going to do is make sure we're centered in the middle of the hoop or in the middle of the hat or wherever we are, whatever we're sewing on. That's going to be step 5.
Okay.
After we're centered in the hoop, then step 6 is going to be tracing the design and make sure that we're inside the boundaries of the hoop. Okay. And once we do that, then if it traces, everything looks fine, then we can hit the start button and sew the design.
And once you do that, those steps the first time.
Then, right, let's say we have 8 shirts to do. The first time you do all those and you get everything set, then you start and you finish sewing the first 4. As soon as the machine's done, or what we're doing while the machine's sewing, instead of watching it, we're hooping up the other 4. So as soon as those are done, we take those off, we put the next ones on, and then all we have to do at that point is hit start because we know we're centered, we've got the colors in there, everything's going to be fine.
So
you do it the first time you run the design, and then after that you're going to be fine. Okay. So, for example, this all-star logo that we're going to be doing. The first thing we're going to do is hit the A button. Okay. And we're going to hit it twice. Okay. What you're going to see is the A is highlighted. Okay. And you're going to see an F out here, and the F is for floppy. Okay. So it's going to be flashing here. What you're going to do is we're going to hit the set button.
Okay.
Okay. And it's going to read all the designs that are on the disc, and then we have to find the design All-Star, and it's number 36 or something like that. Just because she said this 37, but design number
36. Yeah.
36. So you can turn the dial here. You're going to see it's counting up. You know, if I can go the other way as well. So I can go backwards, it's going to be a little bit easier. So either way you want to do it, once you get going, you can, spin your wheels. Okay. So once I find number 36, I can leave it there. And what do you think I have to do now?
Pushy.
We're going to hit set.
Set it out.
Set. Set's like your enter button, okay?
Okay.
So anytime you want to do anything, it's turn the dial and hit set.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to hit set. That's going to choose that design. Okay? Now it's asking me, do you want to load it from your floppy disk into memory, slot number 2. Everything that you sew has to go into the memory of the machine to sew it. So at this point, you can just let it go into the next memory slot. You know, it's going to go into the next one will probably be number 3, and the next one number 4. And then the machine only holds so many designs or so many stitches. And once you get to that point, then we're going to have to delete designs out of there. So you might, use this All-Star logo every week. You could actually keep it in here if you wanted to, instead of going and getting the disc all the time and loading it in. Or you can just delete it out of there, all your designs, and just start over. But let's say you deleted if you had 4 designs in there and you deleted number 2, the next one's going to go in number 2 and not number 5.
So is that what she did in order to have room, or how?
She has to delete designs, yeah.
Okay.
At some point you're going to have to delete designs, yes.
Okay.
Because it only holds so many. It holds like 99 designs or, you know, a couple 100,000 stitches.
But everybody's still going back and getting a floppy using
could.
it every time,
It
even
could.
though it could be in there.
Right, yeah. Okay, so we have to hit set again to load it into memory, okay?
Mm-hmm.
At once,
And then,
you hit set again.
yeah. Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So now that's step number 1.
Okay.
That's loading a design.
Okay.
Pretty simple, right?
Right.
Okay. So now step number 2 is we have to select the colors of this design.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say we're going to be doing the first shirts or, you know,
Gold.
yeah, whatever these
The
color
star's
shirts
going to
are.
be gold.
So we have to go to this, and then we're going to find the gold, which we decided was, what did we say?
It's 5.
The thing is that you'll have to be careful of sometimes too. Do you notice like how this is different than this one here?
Yeah, they're not all set up. Yeah.
Right. So if you're running 4 shirts, you have to make sure that each 4 are all the same. Otherwise, you know, one's
Right.
going to be, you know,
So you have to find the colors you want out of each.
right. You know, once you get going, you're going to remember that what you switched.
Are you
right?
supposed to have the colors all the same? Or
Usually, yes. But maybe she only had 1 shirt to do. And needed this color or something, so she probably just threw it up there. The problem is if you forget that it's there and you're going to gray and you're looking, okay, gray's on 1, and you don't switch them all, then you run 1 shirt, then that shirt's going to have the wrong color.
is
I
that
think
all
normal-
you have to three?
Right,
I think normal for us has always been that she would keep a certain set
right.
all the time. That one I'm sure is different because the head hasn't been used.
It's very well possible, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the other ones all looked relatively, well, I mean, you got a green here and the orange back there, and those are gray back there, so it just depends.
Okay, so you just have to make sure that
Just
you're...
make sure that if you're running 3 shirts, 4 shirts, whatever it is, that, you know, they all have the same colors on it. Okay? That's important.
These are called...
This is head.
Okay.
Like, this is a 4-head machine, just here. So this is normally like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So, being that this is a 4-head, just allows you to sew 4 at a time, so we call it 4-head. This being head number 2, this is number 1. Okay?
Right.
So we've got the design in, so now we have to get the colors in. Okay?
Right.
So we're going to hit the B key,
Okay.
and we're going to hit it twice as well.
Okay.
It's going to look like this. Okay? This says needle number 1, or what is the first color in the design? Is the marigold, right? The way this counts, the machine counts, is this is needle number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? Or after 9, you're going to see, after 9 it goes A, B, and C for 10, 11, and 12.
Okay.
Okay? So 10 is A, 11 is B, 12 is C.
Okay.
Okay?
Go
So-
diagonal, right?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. And then back up to the front.
Right to left. Seems backwards, doesn't it?
I'm not sure. I'm so used to it. You know, it could for some people. You know.
It is right to left, right?
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, front to back, and then back. You know, back up to the front.
Okay. And then from 10 on?
Is from 9 after 10 is A, 11 is B, and 12 is C.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So now we have to find the marigold is on color number 3. It looks like. Okay. So we know marigold is first. So it's asking you, what do you want the first color to be? variable, which is number 3. So we're going to turn this to a 3.
Okay.
Okay? And do what?
Hit set.
Set. Tell me this is like rocket science there, so now, after you do that, it automatically takes you to the next color. It says number 2 is flashing. So what do we want to make number 2? So the blue, right?
Right.
So the blue is on
6.
right. So we just turn this to 6. Okay.
And our set.
And set. Right.
Okay.
Now, you know, you don't have to, but usually what I thought, there's only 2 colors in this design. You know. So what you can do, and again, it's not necessary, but you can just turn this dial to a dash and hit set, and then you'll know that those are just the only 2 colors that are in the design. These ones over here do not matter.
Okay.
The dash basically means
That's
done.
Yeah. If you
Period.
if you didn't put it there, it's just going to sew the 3 and the 6 and be done. If you put 2 colors in there and it only has a 1 color design, it doesn't care. It's going to do the 3 and it's done, and it doesn't matter.
What if you need more numbers and it goes into those others? It doesn't matter?
Well, if you put 3, 6 in the dash, then it'll
Then
never
it's-
see those other
okay.
ones. What it'll do, if let's say you had 4 colors in the design and you only put 2 in the dash, then after the 6, then it goes back to the 3 and it'll sew the 3 again, and then it'll sew the 6 again, and then 3 into the 6 until the design is done.
Those spots are there for however many colors is in your design.
Right, yeah.
Once
If you've
you
got a
put-
design that has 10 colors in it,
Yeah.
then you'll just keep going through the sequence.
And then you make sure you put that dash at the end if
Right.
you're not using it.
And it doesn't matter,
Okay.
again, if you don't do it, you know, it's just
Just
an
kind of
indication for
okay.
yourself, yeah. Because if you put 11 colors and there's only 10, it's only going to sew 10. It's not going to sew anything else that's there. It just gives you kind of an idea that you can see, okay, there's some, when you go back to this, if there's only 2 colors in there or something.
Okay. And when you hit that dash, you're always hitting set after everything you do.
Right, so if I turned it to a dash and hit set, it just goes back to the beginning of number 1.
And you turn your dial to the dash.
Right, you would turn, it's not going to show up in this one here, but
And you just turn
it'll
that.
turn it, any one after 1, it'll have a
Okay.
dash in it.
Okay.
And you'll also see a 0 as well. Sometimes what the 0 is if you need the machine to, if you've got 13 colors in your design, this machine only has 12 available. So if you needed it to stop, so you could change this out and put a different color up there, then you can put a 0 there. The machine will automatically stop after a certain color so that you have the opportunity to change that from brown to pink. Otherwise, if you didn't have a stop in there, then you're either going to have to babysit the machine,
Yeah.
you know, otherwise you could forget that you
Well,
need
go
to
back
come
to
over
the-
here and you're doing something else, and then it'll start sewing something else. You know? So you can put that in there. Most likely, you don't have designs with more than 12 colors, but there
Yeah.
are possibilities.
Yeah.
Sometimes a design might have, it'll say 15 colors or 20-something colors in there or whatever, but it might be using black or white, you know, a couple different times throughout the design, you know, so they call them color changes, not so much different colors that are in the design. So the
So it
design
just
might...
goes back to that.
Right, so if I needed black, you know, twice, you know, if the third color was black, then I would just turn it to whatever number black was on multiple times, you know, whenever you needed it. You don't have to put 2 cones of black up here.
Right.
Okay, does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we're done with step number 2, which is loading the color sequence. So now we have to check the rotation of the design. Anytime you load a design in, it's going to be right side up. Okay?
Okay.
The only time that you would need to change it, you know, is if you're doing a hat or you needed to flip it upside down. If you're doing like a sleeve or something like that, the way you sew it, it goes into the arm like this. So when you sew it, the design would be upside down. So you'd have to flip it because we have a logo kind of so you can see. This is kind of, let's just say this is, so let's say this is right side up. So we're going to flip the design on the machine to 180 so that when you have it on your shirt or whatever, or your hat, that it's going to be right side up.
So you put your stitching designs upside down.
You could be, yes. If it's on your shirt sleeve, a hat, or something like that, a pair of shorts, you know, you're going to go in, you know, this way, and so it'll be upside down. And then it'll be right side up.
But shirts typically,
Your normal left chest is going to be right side up, so you wouldn't have to
So
flip
you'll be looking at it the right way.
the right way, that's correct. So, if we were going to flip it for a hat, we just hit the B key.
Okay, wait a minute. So, hats and sleeves.
Hat sleeves, you know, some people when they're doing sweatshirts, they might hoop it upside down. You know, it's up to you on that.
So it's optional?
On a sweatshirt, you know, some people do because, like, you know, let's say you did it right side up. Your neck or your thing's going to be back here like so.
Yeah.
Some people, you know, if, depending on how big it is, think it might stretch the neck out where they go in, hoop it upside down, and then it goes in like so.
Right. It's easy to get shirt in there probably.
It's everybody's personal preference.
So then you have to set it according to
Right.
what you do. Okay, so you can, okay, it's not like the design has to go a certain way depending on the design, it's how you're going to sew it.
How you're going to hoop it up.
Okay. Okay.
Hats, there's no way around it. The only way the hat goes on there is upside down. So if we're going to rotate the design, okay, you would hit the B key. And it's when the B key is lit, it'll have a 3 out here. Okay. So if I hit the E key is like an escape key. That gets me back to this main screen. So if I say go to B3, it would be the B light's lit and there's a 3 out front.
What takes you back to the main?
The E
The
key.
E, okay.
We're on the B3. This is the only confusing part that we need to do. You need to, you see how it's blinking on the X? So we need to get to the rotation part. What this is, and you won't want to monkey with it, you can actually shrink or increase the size of your design here on the machine. So if you need to make it bigger or smaller, you could do that. But you really don't want to adjust the size of the design here because it doesn't really take away or add any stitches to your design. So it's not going to sew out as well as what it was designed for. So normally you want to sew your designs at 100% of what they were made for.
Okay.
So to do that, then we just have to hit set while it's blinking on the X, set on the Y, and then that takes us to our rotation.
Okay.
Okay. And 0 is right side up.
Okay.
And so what do you think I could use to change this from 0 to 180?
You use the...
I'm going to use the wheel here. Remember, anytime I want to change anything, I can just use the wheel.
Okay.
Set to enter it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So the wheel I'm going to use, you can do any number of degrees that you want, but obviously 180 is going to be upside down. So the inside dial is slow, outside dial is fast. So if I hold the outside dial, you can see how fast it's going.
Okay.
So I want to get to 180. I'll turn it to 180. You know, if I was close, you know, just slow it down with the inside portion of the wheel. And then set, right?
Yep.
Remember, you always have to hit set anytime that locks it in.
Okay.
Okay? You don't have to worry about the M here. The M is a mirror image of something. chance of you doing a mirror image of something is probably slim to none, because it's gonna, if it's got lettering in it, it's gonna flip your entire lettering as well. It's not gonna look good. Okay. So now we've got that done, the rotation. If we were going to do that, remember, if it's going to be right side up, we don't have to do it. You can skip that step. But just so you know where it is at, so if you're doing a hat or you're doing sleeves or something where you do need to rotate it, now you at least know where to go.
So that's set up for a hat.
Right now, or sleeve or whatever.
Okay.
So if I want
Because
to,
you wanted it right set up, but then you did a 180-degree turn. So
just to
it's
show
gonna
you
be
where it is, right? Yeah. So
Okay.
it'll be, flipped upside down.
Right.
So if I want to go back, I just hit set again. Set. It's going to get me back here to 180. Then I'll just put it back to 0. Okay. Set.
Okay.
So now I'm back to right side up.
Okay.
Newer machine's a little bit nicer because you can see a picture of the design there, so you can see
Oh, and
if
the
it's right
shirts.
side up or upside down.
Oh.
But
Ah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you gotta walk before you can run. So. Can't do everything.
No.
All right, so you've got that.
Mm-hmm.
That's step 3.
Okay.
So step 4 is going to be a manual color change. Okay, it's the most important step. Very simple to do, and this is just going to make it easier for us centering a design, and also when we do our trace, it's going to be easy for us. Okay, so to do that, we're going to hit the D key.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, it tells me what needle I'm on currently. Okay, number 5. Okay, so that means number 5 is over the needle plate hole.
Okay.
Okay, so every time we do a new design, I want you to go to needle number 1 to make sure that it's, centered that way. It's just going to be easier for you. Every time the machine sews a design, it's going to stop on a different needle. Like, because we chose number 3 and 6 in this design that we're going to be doing, when it's done sewing the design, because the first color is 3 and the second color is 6, it's going to come back to needle number 3 when it's finished, so that when you take that off, you put the next one on, all we have to do is start. So if we have to load a different logo after we're done with this one, then I want you to go back to, needle number 1 instead of leaving it on 3, go back to 1 and use that, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Very simple. So if it says anything other than number 1, we're going to turn this dial to a 1
Okay.
and hit
That's it.
set.
Okay.
Okay, so when I turn it down and hit set, you're going to see this move over, and then needle number 1 is going to be lined up. Okay? That's it. That's all you have to do. You can hit the E key when you're done, and that'll kick you back to the main screen. Okay? And then you can check right here and see that it's on number 1.
But when it starts sewing, it's going to
It's
go
going to
to
move over to number 3.
Okay, but you just want to start on 1
Right.
every time.
Right.
And you only have to do that when you're first starting, or like when you get that set done, you go back and set it back on 1.
Nope.
No, just
the first time. That's
just
right.
the first of that design. Okay.
So we're going to hold off on the other steps right this second. We're going to take this cap frame off so I can show you how to do that, and we'll sew this design into the thing so we don't have to ruin the hat.
Be back here with you. I'm trying to figure out how to write it.
Well, if you can see from there. So with the power off on the machine, you can move the frame here.
Okay.
Okay. So what you want to do is, sometimes this might be over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to line these holes up down here to these Allen screws here.
Okay. I'm going to have to go back there. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You got to line those up.
Right, and with that power off, I can move this by hand. You can see relatively easy. Go ahead and try, and then you just line them up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And so then we're going to take our tool and loosen them up. Okay. We're going to loosen here, down here, it's much easier, you know, to come back here. She does. You said she was back here or whatever. You used to watch her through the window like she was a, you know, on
She's
Well, I don't think it
steroids.
was always, I don't think it's been changed since, maybe once since it's been up here.
That means because they've got multiple machines, so if they left this on hats, then they would do shirts over
Yeah,
there, so
right.
you don't have to change it. I don't know how to run that machine, so you know, you're on your own over there. I can show you over here.
Come on, you could probably figure it out.
And you need a duster, you know, back there too.
Not if it's never going to get changed.
Well, even if it's not, you still want to, you know,
Keep it dusted and
right,
stuff,
yeah.
yeah. Take care of it a little bit.
So you just go down through the line and loosen all these up a little bit. On the newer machines, they're just wing nuts. It's pretty easy to change over.
Yeah. Probably don't think there's on
No, it
either.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Not as much effort.
That's a different.
Okay, so we just loosen up, you know, whatever, 2, 4.
Yeah. These up here and down here.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm. And then you'll see that this will just slide right
Oh.
out.
All right. This just slides off.
Yeah, just loosen up,
Yeah.
just pull it out there. And then these other screws that she has up here, she uses because this kind of flips up and can go crazy on you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put them in that, we'll see where it says
Mhm.
remove there.
Mm-hmm.
We can screw that in. Yeah. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to
Do it
screw it
tight,
tight or
okay.
anything, just so it kind of holds it so it doesn't, you know,
Mhm.
flip around. And then we can just come to the front and we can just
Just take it off.
slide it off. This is a 98, Jim. So you just
Oops,
find a
sorry.
place to, you know,
Where it's going.
down below.
Okay.
Okay. The thing you'll have to remember, this is, those screws have to come out.
The ones we just put in.
Right.
Okay.
Because the thing will not move, you know, with it in there like that.
Okay.
Okay. That's why I should have wrote on it.
Okay.
Alright, so then we take this thing here. And we're going to turn it around the other way.
Watch the light.
Okay. This one's going to be a lot easier because they're just wing nuts, okay? So we're just going to loosen the wing nuts up so it'll slide on.
The dust.
Get a dust bunny thing here. Okay. And then we're going to slide it in. Sometimes you'll have to, you know, maneuver it if you're trying to slide it like this. You see how it's like hitting the needles and
Yeah.
stuff? So you might just have to kind of come in at like angles and move it around and things, you
Got
know. And then you can't mess it up when you get to the back, okay, because it only goes into one area, right?
Yep.
So once we get it back there, then, I mean, you can either go back or you can pull it forward, you know, just so that you can put the wing nuts in.
Does that get pushed back more into
Yeah,
that group?
it seems
okay, got
like-
it. I got it.
Yeah, and what you can do is turn the power back on. Okay, so now when you go to make sure that it's all the way back, this thing isn't going to move. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So
Okay.
just make sure it's all the way back before you tighten up the wing nuts.
Now that's really important, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that it lines up with your
Mhm.
your hoops.
Right. So just go down and just make sure all your wing nuts are tight. And you don't have to tighten that one with the white thing
Okay.
on it. That's fine. It's just a guide. Okay? And that's it.
Okay, there you go.
No. Okay? So now we can go back to our notes and we can go back to step number 5.
Can't get all that dust off of
Yeah.
can you? You don't have any wet thing off of your
No,
anything.
that's all right. So we're going to go to step 5, centering the design, okay? So if we put our hoops in here, okay, we just slide them in like this. The number's usually on the left-hand side, or this is on the left, you know, with the open here, and that's on the right-hand side.
Okay.
If you went like this, that'd be upside down.
Okay.
Okay, so kind of the beveled edge kind of goes towards the shingle.
Okay.
So what I do is, because we went to needle number 1, we can take needle number 11 here, and we're going to place it right over the middle of this screw here. Okay? And how we're going to do that is, because we're at the main screen here, if I hit a different thing, my arrow keys don't work. Okay? But as long as I'm at the main screen here, now my arrow keys will move. Okay? So what I want to do is, I'm going to put needle number 11. If I hold this in, you'll see it goes fast. Okay? Or if I wanted to go slow, I could, you know, just hit it a little bit. Or if I hit this middle button here, it goes really, really slow.
Okay.
Okay? So I can pinpoint exactly where I need to be. And since they disabled my beam sensor here, I can reach my hand right in here and pull this down and make sure that that's directly over.
What did you do?
Just pull this down. This is a beam sensor that's
I know, but what did you
disconnected.
do over there before?
Nothing. I just pulled it. I just use the arrow keys.
So you went to
Needle number 11. If needle number 11 is over this screw hole, you'll see needle number 1. If we were to measure this, is dead center in the middle of this hoop. Do you have a rubber band or anything like that?
Yeah, I do. Why, you want to?
Just show you.
bigger. Your number 11
Well,
has to
and
be
what
over the
about if
screw
you
on the
got,
left side.
obviously with that hoop it does, but what about other hoops?
Yeah, I was just going to show you that.
Is this the standard hoop that the size that goes on that?
This
thing
is
there?
no, this is a little bit bigger than you normally use,
Oh,
which is fine
okay.
because
Doesn't it have to be the size of hoop that you generally put on there?
no.
It doesn't.
Guess what the center of this hoop is?
Okay.
Both the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Doesn't matter.
guess what the center of this hoop is?
I'm just saying.
The same.
Mm-hmm.
So you could use whatever hoop that you want. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You might use. Let's see if this is the same. Yours might be a little bit different, but it was pretty darn close. Okay. So the center of this is the center of this is the center of this. The only time it would ever be different is if you used your great big jacket back hoop. Because what we have to do to use our jacket back hoop, because it's bigger left to right, we have to unscrew these two arms here and move them to the outside here.
Mm-hmm. Make them wider.
Right. So then that wouldn't work. Then you'd have to measure it or something. Okay. Or you could also see how close I am. By crisscrossing it, you can, that's pretty much going to find the center for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Pretty
That's
close.
impressive.
Pretty close, right?
Okay, so needle number 11 has to go over the screw on the left side.
And it only works because I'm on needle number 1, right? Because if I'm on needle number 2,
Yeah. Okay.
okay,
So you always have to start on needle number 1.
start on needle number 1. Okay. Once you get going and you've got 5 years in, then you can do your own thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I always do it this way.
Now, to set each one, you have to,
They're all pretty much going to be...
you have to go to 2.
Right, now they're all going to be, if they're off a little bit, it's only because these arms can move a little bit. So if you wanted to be dead perfect on, you could just loosen these up just a hair, and you see how I moved that arm just a little bit?
Yeah.
So now,
Okay.
that'll be dead. So
Okay.
and if nobody's going to be able to see if you're off, like that.
You said needle number 1 over there, and they're all
all the same. Okay? You okay with that? So that's all we have to do. And guess what? You do left chest probably all day long, right? So if we're always sewing in the center of the hoop, what's going to happen? As soon as this one's done, it's going to come back right to that same spot. So the next left chest shirt we do, it's going to be centered as well. So as long as you do left chest all day, it's going to be in that same position day in and day out. Only time, sometimes you don't always sew in the center of the hoop. You might have to, when you're hooping like a sleeve or something, sometimes you don't hoop the whole sleeve, because if I want to sew down here, you might only hoop half of it. Well, then you might not sew in the middle of the hoop. Then you have to drop it down a little bit so you can sew wherever you want to. Or if you got a pocket there and it's not centered in the middle of the hoop, then just move it to wherever you want to sew it. And as long as you trace it and it fits where you want to sew it, it doesn't have to be in the middle of the hoop. Okay? So I'll show you here. So that is step 5 right there, centering the design.
So you were, go back to, that's where we started, right?
Right, that allows us to move the arrow keys around, right? Because
Okay.
if you're inside a menu, I can't
Okay.
move
So
it.
that's the main screen that you started in.
The main screen, if you hit the E keys like an escape key, it gets you back to the main screen here, and it'll allow you to move that frame around. And by hitting the light or hitting the middle button, it'll go slow or fast. So that's centered now.
Okay.
So now is step number 6 is tracing the design. And this, back to the other point too, Chip, these ones don't have the right screw marks in it, so if you did get something like this, because the thing is the same, you're still gonna be centered. So you could put one, like this one doesn't have those screws on there, so just put one of these on, make sure you're centered, so when you go to put this on, you're still gonna be centered.
Okay, you should be centered.
It's still gonna be centered. Okay, so let's sew this. We'll trace this design out here and see what happens. So now, step 6 is tracing the design. So we're going to hit the D key.
Okay.
And we're going to go to number 5, which is trace.
Okay.
And it tells me right here which needle I better be watching. If this said number 2, you better watch 2 because that's the one you're on. Okay, so it says number 1 because we moved it to number 1. So that's what we're going to watch. So we're going to turn this dial to a 0.
Okay.
And then we're going to hit the set button, right? And what it's going to do, you're going to see that it's going to move around the hoop here. Okay. So what it does, it gives you the boundaries of the design. Okay. And as long as this thing doesn't come outside, and we're only watching needle number 1, not 3, because we're on number 1. Right? So as long as that does not come outside the boundaries of the hoop, then we're fine. If it did, then we need to go to a bigger hoop, you know, like something like this. Okay? So, if everything traced out okay, and it puts a square box around it, so it's confusing sometimes, because if you had a circle, it's still going to put a square around it, so it may or may not look like it fits.
You know what I meant when you were talking about tracing? See, I thought the needle would come down like and do it and like show you. Okay.
So
It would,
just a square box.
with something like this, it would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's just an outline of it. But this is just tracing a border, you know, around it to make sure that you're in the perimeter of the hoop.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So now we're going to hit the start button. The start button is right here in the center. Okay. So then it's going to move over to number 3 and then start sewing.
What's your average setting that you would want to put it on? You know,
average is going to be 7 to 800.
7 to 800?
That's might be a little bit slower, but you know, it's going to be fine. You may want to run it slow.
Machine. I mean, whatever you tell it to do, it'll do. So, Brian's absolutely right. If it has been programmed correctly, let it run. If you got the right threads and you kept maintenance to the machine, let it go.
Put on 500 or something. Let's say I go from 500 to 60. I just increased your production by 30%.
There you go. See, we were talking about doing 3 of these rotations, 3 sets per hour. Obviously, what if we do 4?
So by going from 500 to 40%, well, you know, if you got all the things running, you might not be able to do them all running. So if it's done at 800 and it's sitting still, it'll be over to this and this and you know, then it doesn't matter, you know, how fast you go. But, you know, as long as you can do up 4 shirts or that before it gets done, which the average design is going to take 5 minutes easily. So once you get good, you should be able to do 4 shirts and 4 hats before that's done.
I probably didn't hear this. When it's on 800, is that per minute? What is that?
Yeah, 800 stitches per minute.
Okay. And most of our designs are going to be 10,000 stitches and less. So there you go.
Like I said, even if you went from 5 to 650, 500 to 650, that's 30% more production. I go from 500 to 800, Now, if you have a design it's breaking a lot of thread and things of that nature, then you may want to slow it down. Let it sewing. Not going to be any problem.
Through the scenario as if you were running 4 of them and one of the threads broke on one of them. I would stop it and back it right back up.
What normally happens is if you get a thread break, it will stop and we'll come up with an error code.
Okay.
And usually the one that has a problem is the one that's lit up. Okay? So then you know where to go to fix the problem. Okay? So if you see something like this here, then we know that, you know, the thread is broken. So we obviously have to fix it. So I carry a pair of scissors in my mouth, so you can cut it. And then make sure you come down, you know, if there's anything that was unthreaded. Typically it only comes out of here, but if it comes any further than that, just make sure it's threaded. Throw some more spit on it. And then what you want to do is come through the eye of the needle here.
I don't know how you see that because I can't see it.
I can't either, but I know it's there somewhere. Actually, I can see it. So once you get it through, she's got tweezers and stuff up there, so you can, you know, do whatever you want to do. Actually, I don't see any. Well, I guess she's got something there. So you go through the eye of the needle, okay, and then down through the pressure foot, and then back down.
Okay.
Okay. So typically, when you get a thread break, you want to back yourself up 5 to 10 stitches.
Okay.
Okay, to make sure we didn't miss any stitches that were there.
Okay.
Because if I hit start right now, you can see you know, that might not look that great.
Right.
So if that's the case, then I can, you know, use the stop button and back myself up.
So you just hold it in?
Right. If you do one, you know, do one at a time, but if you hold it, then it goes back further.
So
And it tells you where you are, correct?
Right. It'll
I mean, you know where you broke.
Number there. Typically 5 to 10 stitches. So if I just hit, you know, like that, it's going back 2 stitches.
Okay.
Okay. So then I'm ready to start. Okay. Normally the light's red.
Yeah. Do you cut this string off?
Normally,
you just start stitching again?
Normally, yeah, it wouldn't have went like that. Normally, it would be back like
Where
this.
do you cut it? I mean, where do you?
I leave it like this in my hand, and then just start it back up. And then if you notice a problem before the machine does, you know, you're like, something's not right or broke the thread and didn't stop.
Bobbin's a big deal too.
Bobbin
Bunch up on
is a problem. So let's say there was an issue that it missed some stitches back here and you wanted to back up to fix it. So we're going to use the stop button, right? Okay. So I go hold it wherever I need to go, stop it. Okay. Fix the thread, put it in there, hit start. You see what's happening? It's not sewing, right? So backing up, hit start. It's not sewing. So if you recognize a problem before the machine does, normally you saw that light turn red when there was an issue. Well, the light's not red now. Okay, so you need to make it red. If you want it to sew and it's not sewing, then you need to flip this switch up to say, hey, I've got a problem here. Okay, Any other time you don't have to worry about it because it normally pops on to red. But if you see something happen and you need to fix it and back up and the light's not red, when you get started, it won't sew because it doesn't want to sew the stitches that are already there.
So you just answered my question of the other ones. If you got the other ones loaded, you don't have to worry about turning them off because it knows when to start back up.
Right, so if all these were back on, none of these would sew either. So if I turn this on, it shouldn't sew either. This one should be the only one that sews. You see how it kicked in? As soon as it caught up to where this one broke, then that one will, whatever ones are on, are going to start sewing.
Okay.
Okay? So. Do you have a home sewing machine or anything like that?
My daughter sews.
So you don't know what a bobbin is then?
Well, I know what a bobbin is. I did
Okay.
take it in school.
Okay. So, if you remember, you went back in school, but I don't remember taking sewing, but the bobbin comes off the top to the right. And so, when you're putting the bobbin in, this is the bobbin case, so I always hold this at 12 o'clock. Okay, so with this off the top to the right, and slide it in here like so.
And the string goes through that.
Right through there, and then turn it around, and then slide it right underneath here. Okay, and then when you hold it, typically it should not fall and hit the ground.
Okay.
If you shake it, it should drop a little bit. Okay, that's a good starting point for your bobbin and your tension and stuff like that. So, if I needed to adjust it, then I would use the bigger of the two screws to loosen or tighten it to allow more bobbin to come out or less bobbin to come out.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll go over that here in a second. When you're done, you can wrap it around the pigtail, and then we're going to put it back in here. Okay. What you can do periodically as well is you can take a Post-it or something, and if you slide, this might not be thick enough. Slide underneath here, you're going to see, lint and things come out of there. Okay. You don't want to stick a pair of scissors or needle underneath there. You can pick it out, with a needle, but you don't want to scratch underneath it or anything like that. Because after a while, all that lint's going to build up and it's going to change and affect your tensions the way it's sewn. Okay. So again, just 12 o'clock. Around here, around the pigtail. Okay, you don't need that much thread, just a little bit. Okay, and it comes in here, like so, pigtails straight up, and it'll snap in. So if you grab here, this is where I pull it in. Okay, so typically, if you get that red light to pop on, and you see the thread is still connected to the garment, but you got a message up there, your bobbin is out.
Okay.
You can check there. And chances are, if you run them all the same, if you replace them all at the same time, they should run out relatively at the same time. This machine was not designed to stop if that runs out, so what will happen, you might have to back up, more than just a little bit if it goes too far.
And how will you know how far to back up? I mean, like...
When you started back up sewing, if you see a gap in the stitching, then you know you didn't go back far enough. Typically, it's 5 to 10 stitches after a thread break.
Okay.
If you go over, if it was only 5 stitches and you went to 10, that's fine. It's going to cover up 5 stitches. Nobody's going to see it. You don't want to back up and start the whole design over again, but so just cover it up. Just when you're threading the thing, especially because you're new, just watch, make sure that it did cover. That you did go back far enough, and then you'll be fine. If you didn't, just stop the machine, go back a little bit further. Make sure the light's on red. It kick back to green afterwards. So if you backed up again, it might not settle where you want it to settle. Just flip the switch up and you're back.